What is good, YouTube? That's Textbook Sports Squad. Today we're going back to back, two videos in one day. This time, pretty special football player. None other than Caleb Downs. Went to Alabama his freshman year, transferred to Ohio State the very next year. Just as a freshman, he just stood out the tape. I remember watching the Mason Graham and Seth McLaughlin cut-ups or in this game, and Caleb Downs just stuck out above all of them. So here he is right here in the circle. I love his discipline on display. Just his eyes, the way he reads it. I mean, that's absolutely perfect. So if we go back and rewind, Michigan, they like to go on a lot of big packages. That's the hardball way, right? We're going to have all these people here on the line of scrimmage, two tight ends. We're going to do a lot of motions and misdirection. And misdirection in the fact that we have that motion right there from Orgy, the backup quarterback. We're going to swing this tight end out through here. But in the meantime, we're also going to have it two ways. We're going to have Corum, the back, go out to the flat. That gets the defense to think, okay, we have to flow this way, so we're going to flow to the offense's right, but then they're going to sneak in this tight end or right around here. Caleb Downs, like I said, the discipline is perfect. This is a freshman having this kind of NFL level discipline. That is unheard of. Perfect. And then he gets just enough outside to where he knows, okay, his teammates got it, but he's also reading the quarterback's eyes, takes it out completely out the play. That's perfect right there. And then as a safety, especially a defensive back, you have to defend the pass and do have pretty good run support. I think we all can come to the conclusion that even watching the broadcast film, he is a terrific run support defensive back. So let's see how he does man to man right here. Here he is in right here to the bottom of the screen, working in the slot up against the tight end in a catch technique. A catch technique is basically you stay your ground right here, and then when the receiver makes their move, because at the line of scrimmage and their release, they're going to give you a lot of window dressing. We already know that. So when they make their move, you're going to make contact with them, go two hands to one, get them off, disrupt the timing. And I like what he does here. Again, the discipline. Stays his ground, doesn't retreat back, doesn't go forward, just stays his ground on this hitch. And then he has that quick reaction to get there right where he needs to be. He does get his hands right around here, but he doesn't reach over it when I finish the play. Right. He gets his hands there, but he's not reaching over the tight end and drawing a flag there. So good discipline. He's good in run support, good in the pass. And then in zone, oh, he's just recreating a new way to play defense as a defensive back. And it can even be interpreted and used for some linebackers as well. So in zone coverage, what we basically know is that in zone we have everybody that's in it, defensive back and linebackers included. They're gonna have their eyes on the quarterback and eyes on the ball. Plus, they'll be covering some kind of grass, like let's say him for an instance right here that I'm using or highlighting with the mouse in a circle. Let's say he has this area. He'll stay in that area, but watch the quarterback's eyes. Watch what Downs does right there in that circle. All right, he's not having his eyes to the quarterback, but it's to the route combinations. He gets the perfect depth to take away this seam route. Then he has the recognition to take away that inside route or that in route. Like I said, recreating ways we can play defensive back. Because what what we understand again in zone is you're reading the quarterback's eyes and you're playing grass. All right. Well, are we playing grass or are we playing the player that is in front of us? Because offenses, they're all about route combinations, right? High, low, levels. In this case, in the play we just saw right here, a dagger concept, China concept, scissors concept with a post and a corner. That's basically all it is when you're defending the pass. So again, let's play it again. All right, this is a dagger concept. So we're gonna have a receiver from the slot go all the way, work up the field. That's gonna try to get any kind of middle ground player or midfield player here to go up for the in route. But he reads it so perfectly. And he actually gets a game-winning or game-sealing interception up against Texas in the Cotton Bowl for it. That is a perfect way to play defense in zone. He's so darn good in run support. I mean, it's as a freshman, it's unbelievable, and it was like NFL level. I mean, it's incredible, really. The way he's able to process, diagnose, and then react all within an instant from zero to 60 is impressive. So there he is right here. Processes the run, diagnoses that is run, reacts, and then he's able to hit for a tackle for loss. Same thing here. And when he sees it, he has full confidence and he's like an absolute missile out there. So watch him here to the top of the screen. I mean, it's gonna end pretty quickly because he gets there in a flash. Perfect technique. Get low, get yourself ready. Perfect stance and form for a tackle. DRH. Diagnose, react, and hit. That's exactly what he does. So here he is right here. He's the last defender, last line of defense right there if you can see with the mouse. Again, in run support, I mean, he's like a missile. It's Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu, Ryan Clark kind of levels. His pursuit rating, if I were to have to give it one, is definitely going to be 99. Here he is to the top of the screen right here. At the 35, 36-yard line. Again, just the run support, terrific levels. And then within the run support, I like the angle that he takes. It's a perfect angle. It's a perfect form tackler, too. And then the play recognition definitely has to be within the level of 90 or somewhere around there because it's just that good. There he is right there in the slot. Watch him read this receiver. He can tell already from the body language of this wide receiver and then having the corner vision right here what this play is going to be. And watch how quickly he reacts to it. So he sees them, get into blocking, diagnosis, recognize, play recognition. I mean, he basically gets to the ball carrier before that, or the receiver before the football gets to them almost. Young football players, like anywhere from sophomore, freshman, right? They should not have this kind of discipline in play action. There are some players, even in their junior, even senior year, that in play action they get a little bit over disciplined, they shade a little bit too far. But Caleb Downs right here, you can see with the mouse, just so disciplined on this. So watch him right there. Pursues, doesn't pursue too far. He recognizes his play action, and then watch him. Sees the leaking out tight end, and then again he almost gets to the intended receiver he gets to the before the ball does. At this point, it's just getting too easy to make this video. Like it would be harder and a little bit more of a challenge just looking through hours of tape of things I to find wrong, but there's not that much, or if anything, to find wrong with him. So here he is at the 40-yard line. Just again, the discipline. And then if you're the last line of defense, you have to have great discipline. I mean, just like an absolute missile, one of those old school, hard hitting type of defenders that you just absolutely fall in love with. In this breakdown alone, it's just so many tackle for losses. And I'm going to try to highlight the tackling angles a little bit more. Hopefully, this one gives y'all a clearer example. So there he is right here. If you can see with the mouse, that's him right there. That's Caleb Downs. He understands that he is the help, or his gap is right here towards the end man on the right side of the line of scrimmage for the offense, because this cornerback right here has the outside of that area. And so his tackling angle is going to have to be to the left hip and the inside hip, because this corner is going to have the outside hip, and we don't want anything to spill to the outside. Inside hip, tackle for loss. And I like how if you noticed, If I can go back just a little bit. In his tackle for losses, he is flipping and turning his body. And what that does is you get when you turn your body like that and position yourself in such a way. Let's see if I can pause it to give you an example. Okay, so he starts right here, right? And then he's eventually Caleb Downs his left hip is closest to the ground, but he's eventually going to end with his right hip on the ground. And when you what you do by that is you trip them up, you use your momentum against the ball carrier. There he is, finishes on his right hip, even this time his backside. That just gives you more force into bringing him down. It's just so much good juice and good stuff to like from Caleb Downs. So here he is in catch technique, working up against Warren, the tight end right here. They're also going to try to run a rub route and watch his process and watch Downs' helmet and processing this thing and working the correct angle. So he sees it, processes it. He's going to see that rub route. It's in his sight of vision, right? And he's going to work off. He's about the 25-yard line, I want to say right here. And he's going to work to about the 24, 23. 24, 23, dodges that rub route. And then you have to make a tackle in space, and he does just that. If you try to work towards Caleb downside, I would advise not to. Here he is at the 11-yard line to the top of the screen right here. It's going to be another rub route situation, and he does a perfect job of just dodging the rub route from this wide receiver right here with this tight end leaking to the flat. And then what I love more than dodging that rub route right there is the tackling form. I mean, this is just absolutely textbook, like old school tackling form. Gets low, leg drive. You want to wrap them around the knees right there and drive. That's just in the football world, that is a thing of beauty that you're going to see hung up at some kind of museum. Most defensive backs and really defensive players in general aren't as good with the football in their hands as Caleb Downs is here. I mean, there have been a couple that when they get the ball in their hands, they're able to take it to the house, and that's just a rare trait to have. So if you do have it, perfect. And I mean, he's returned so many punt return touchdowns at Alabama, and he does it here at Ohio State. You can see the spin move, the acceleration. Did play a little bit of running back in high school. I mean, just a special player all around. The tape's just so good. Here, big game, 4th and 1. You need your defensive players to make a huge stop in a critical moment. You need your playmakers to make plays. There's Caleb Downs right here. Michigan, that's their bread and butter, right? They're a run football team. They they do the whole run ground and pound. But look at the run stuff right there. Knocks him back. What I like is when he's making a tackle, rarely do you see the ball carrier go forward or fall down forward. They're always going backwards. I'm going to add this one here because I want to showcase just how good of hands he has. Like even for wide receivers, this is a pretty difficult catch to make. So here he is right there at the line of scrimmage. He's going to start out at the line of scrimmage, work to his zone. You saw him look left, right. He has anything that's crossing underneath. And so here's this receiver. He gets enough depth. Here's this receiver here crossing underneath, reading the quarterback's eyes. But watch the catch. I mean, he's kind of on his knees, having to make a catch to his opposite side, reach over. I mean, that's a difficult catch to make for a lot of receivers. Watch it here in slow motion. Almost practically to one knee, having to make it on the ground, hands, not even that much of a bobble. Remember what I was talking about in the Michigan clip about reinventing the way you can play zone defense? Here it is showing up against Texas. So this is Caleb Downs right here. If you see number 0 right here, it's to number 0's right and our left. So that's where Downs is. And he'll be highlighted right there too in that circle. Watch him not even look at Ewers. He's looking at the route combination. There's his eyes right there, looking at this route combination the whole time. Then he reads the timing and he sees that, okay, at this point, they're not going to run any more routes. They've finally broken off their route. Reads it, finds the ball, catch, critical interception to advance to the national championship game. Here it is at a better angle for y'all to see. That is the conclusion of this film breakdown portion of the video. Looking ahead to the 2026 class, Caleb Downs, he's phenomenal. I mean, he's Timothy, that guy, a dude, just absolutely incredible the kind of talent he has. The way he's reinventing the way you can play zone defense. I mean, just remarkable. Like he's good in all the phases of football that you look for in defending the pass, defending the run, being a box safety, being a safety over the top. He's good with the ball in his hands. He has the best tackling form I've probably ever seen. It's old school. The way he plays is old school. He's in that tier of like Kyle Hamilton, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu, Ryan Clark. That kind of old school vibe safety is what he is. He's just, I mean, watching him from high school in Georgia at Mill Creek, you could just kind of see that this was the talent that could be potentially there. And he's just like I said, a great football player. To me, I think he's the best player in next year's draft class. Period. Without a doubt. And in terms of college football, like he's a player this year that he's if it wasn't for Jeremiah Smith, I think he's the best player in college football. He can win the Thorpe Award. He can win all these kinds of awards that a safety and a player his position could win. He's just flat out incredible. As I said, best player in the class.